Welcome to another episode of last week's comic today. I've got a short stack, but I think I'm going to do a bunch of talking at the end of this. So let's get straight into it with Dark Regards issue 4. This is the end of the miniseries, and it ends well. It's the same level of comedy that has been throughout. Same art. This is again the I hate this place / fuck this place. So the art's great. Writing is funny. There is an annoyance that's going on. There's a running joke, and the characters are annoyed by it. And in the process, I also became annoyed by it because it's just like I wish this joke were over by now. But it ends well, and for anyone that's curious, I'm gonna recommend grabbing it. And there's even like a peek ahead. So it wraps up the story, and then it gives sort of a send-off to these characters and what they then followed up with, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed all of it. It's I didn't think I would. This wasn't on my radar, but it came to me, and for 4 months now I'm like, this is good. This is something I enjoy, and it surprised the hell out of me. So I do recommend it, and I'm sure there's going to be a trade coming out, and so for those curious, grab the trade. Gehenna, Naked Aggression, issue 3. This is a 4-issue miniseries, so there's only one issue to go. I have, and I say this often, and somehow it always happens regardless, but I have no idea how this is going to wrap up, because there seem to be so many plot threads, and there's a number of characters, and there's just a lot to get through before this wraps up, and I don't know how that's going to happen. So I look forward to it. I look forward to whatever Kinlan does next in the whatever shared universe this is with Frontiersman and Antioch. But it's great. I really enjoy Kinlan as a writer. There's some, I mean, this is essentially, so it's 4 issues, it's 12 sort of 8-page stories. This was, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, originally serialized in the Image anthology that came out a few years ago, and now it's colorized. I could be wrong about, but it's 8-page stories. So every 8 pages you get sort of this new intro, you get this title sequence, and it's really well done. The art's incredible. There is a very long, very brutal fight scene in this between these two characters. I've been showing off pages already, but just, it's phenomenal. And this panel alone, holy cow, I love this panel. Love it. So this is one of those characters that isn't quite wrapped up, and there's a bit more that's, there's a bit more that is developed, and I'm like, this is pretty late in the game to be introducing this, and it's great. I look forward to how it ends, and once again, I have no idea how any of this is going to wrap up, but I look forward to seeing how all of this comes together next month. Fingers crossed, hopefully. Speaking of not knowing how things are going to wrap up with only one issue to go, we have the Sixth Gun, Battle for the Sixth. And this is another one with a lot of plot threads going on. There's plenty of characters in this. They are divided by the end of this issue, so they're off on their own adventures. And there's just so much, I think, to get through. I don't see how this can wrap up in just one issue. Now, there was a book, there's I Heart Skullcrusher that I've talked about. It's been going on for a while. I think we're up to issue 10, but that first arc, I made the comment that I thought it resembled manga in a way that I thought if it had been manga, it would have been longer and it would have allowed plot and character and certainly action all more time to breathe. And then arc 2 was more sort of Americanized, and it ran at a faster pace. But those first 5 or 6 issues, I'm like, I really wish we could live in this for longer if this had been something done in Asia, then I think the series would have allowed for all of that stuff to really live and breathe. This is kind of similar, where I feel like they, and maybe, I don't know, market forces, or I don't know if the creators or the publisher just didn't have faith that a longer Sixth Gun anniversary special thing, the market could sustain it. I don't know. But we've got there's really 4 issues because it was the prequel. Whatever. We've got 4 issues and a lot to get through. This is basically the original Sixth Gun, but on fast forward, and it feels weird. It's very odd that so much is put into just 3 issues, and I wish that this had been allowed more time to breathe. It is Cullen Bunn and Brian Hurt, and I enjoy both of their work, and it's really good, but I wish it were longer. I wish that we could stay with this story for longer to allow this stuff to breathe, to allow it to build to dramatic heights, and then the action. And I might just reread The Sixth Gun, because I think that's where I'm at mentally. It's just, I wish I could have more of this, and I'm grateful, I'll say, that we got an anniversary special at all, but I wish it were longer. Sleep, issue 4, I think this is an 8-issue series, so we're roughly halfway through, and this book is wild. This is going to be a pick of the week, by the way. I love this, and also, I'm glad for this one sentence down here, and I'm also glad that I actually looked at it, but it's John convinced his sleep alter ego is unstoppable. He leapt off a bridge with a noose around his neck. That's the very end of the previous issue, and this issue, it doesn't start with him dangling from a bridge. Instead, starts like this. So, not good things have happened, but every issue is a new day. It ends with him generally going to sleep, and it starts the next issue with him waking up wherever he is, uncertain of whatever damage he has caused. I like this. I like that a lot. So each issue is kind of him trying to figure out what has happened and trying to stop himself from doing the same thing the next night. And this is no exception. It's incredibly well done. I am loving this series. I say this a lot, which is this will read much better collected, and I believe that is also the case here. However, I really enjoy the serial format in a way that I think is pretty rare for me. This sort of falls into the Lost category. Lost, the TV show, of it's monthly content in this case, and it allows the story time to build, to be discussed. It's sort of the weekly versus binge. So if a show is released and all of the episodes are available immediately, you can binge it in, let's say, a weekend, and you can talk about it the next week, but it doesn't have the same staying power as like an HBO show where it comes out on a weekly basis, and then you can continually talk about it over the length of time that the series runs, which I think is what's happening here. So I'm very grateful that each issue comes out and the mystery, I'm going to say, deepens. I feel like I'm no closer to figuring out what all of the red color is about. There are some characters that are certainly acting shady as hell, and I'm suspicious of them, but as far as the colors, specifically the red, but last issue we saw some blue, and clueless. I have no idea whatsoever. I have one idea that I'm pretty sure is wrong, but it's the best thing that I've been able to come up with, and it's just really well done. It's really good. I hope people give this a shot. It is an absolute mystery. I have no idea what's going on, where the story is going, and I'm fully on board for that ride of discovery. It's top-notch. This actually makes me want to go check out Kaiju Max, which I've heard good things about, but Xander Cannon's previous work, it's it's really that good that it makes me want to go check out other things from this creator. Lastly, there is Immortal Legend Batman. This is, I knew this was going to be a regret. I did not enjoy this at all. I feel like this is a character design in search of a story. And these preview pages come out. By the way, every font in this panel is a different size. I'm not a fan of that. So these preview pages came out a while ago. The first few pages of this were used to entice, I'm going to say, people to read it, and they confused the hell out of me. So I've seen these pages a few times, and they haven't gotten any better each time that I've seen them. Right, so we've got this ship that's crashing, we've got this other ship, and okay. I feel like a lot of the comments that I make in these videos are bordering on or sometimes dipping into I'm an editor, I'm giving editor notes on a book that has already been published. Right. I feel like that's where a lot of my notes come from. Anyway, so we've got one ship, two ship, but I feel like this ship, if it's so close to that one, it should be seen in the background here, and it's not. And these opening pages confuse the hell out of me, and I think the artist is good, but maybe not a visual storyteller, in the sense that this is just not, it's not well told visually. Right, so we've got two ships. First one crashes. That scene here, pilot gets out, runs to this cave. Cave has crystals, who knows what that's about. We've got a Batman silhouette there that I missed the first time that I read this. Right, so the cave empties out at a cliff, turns around, blasts it. He's pretty happy with himself until crash. Hanging over the ledge, yells, "You're lying," breaking the 180 rule. I don't like any part of this. Where's Bruce Wayne? And like, this is supposed to entice me somehow. This is, I don't know. Right, so that's sort of where it starts, and then it gets real boring for a while. Because we skip to a small town, murder happening. We've got Bruce Wayne, we've got Harvey Dent as the mayor. Bruce Wayne is the sheriff of this town, and there are these brutal murders that are happening, and it's super Old West style, small town with mystery, and we've got this kind of boogeyman Batman that shows up, and I don't like any of this dialogue. I think all of the dialogue is terrible. People are saying and doing things that... Dent is the mayor. Bruce Wayne is the sheriff, and there are multiple murders, and the mayor should be the sheriff's boss, but there's this conversation that happens where he should be... Dent should be angry at... He should be forceful, and instead he's like deferring to Wayne, and it's just it's really bad. Like every cop show, cop movie has the moment where whatever politician is angry at the police chief or wherever the hierarchy falls, but the politician is angry at the police because they're not getting enough done, and the opposite happens here, where the mayor of this small town where brutal murders are happening is just like, could you please? It's really bad. I don't enjoy this in any way. And then there's this backup story that happens, which actually gives a bunch of information that should have been... This is how the story should have started. It should have started with this, which gives background information to this universe and sets up things like shadows, which are mentioned earlier in the book with zero context. This is how it should have started. We then should have gotten this, and then there's a couple of pages, because this is 6 pages total. I don't need to see another Death of the Waynes. I don't know why they felt that was necessary. This is how the issue should have ended, and this technically is how it ends. But we get this set up for, I'm going to say, the book's true villain, and we get Tommy Elliott. I know Berg feels a certain way about Tommy Elliott, but I don't care. So it's bad. It's not good in any way, and I would like to have a conversation with Berg. He has this analogy, I'm going to say, about pre-ordering comics and ordering fast food at a drive-thru, and how you're at the sign placing your order, and then you drive around to the window to pay and to pick up your food. But he talks about that as if it's applicable to pre-ordering comics. And I thought I would go into it here, but I think I'm going to save that for a Shock and Awe discussion once we get our new studio, because I know Wilson and I both disagree with that metaphor. But it's basically ordering fast food. My point in this, ordering fast food, you sort of know what you're getting. They don't change the menu that often, whereas comics regularly launch new series, which I guess is analogous to launching new food items, and they change creators, which I guess is more like changing chefs. It's very weird, but often we are pre-ordering comics without knowing what the quality is going to be like. We're not even gifted preview pages until later, so it's a crapshoot, is what I'm saying. Pre-ordering comics based on a synopsis and a single piece of art, which is not even often the interior artist. So I pre-order a bunch of stuff in the hopes that it's good. Something piques my interest, and then it turns out to be garbage. And look, I gave it a shot, right? I tried. In that vein, here's some stuff that's coming out in a few months, because previews for Marvel, DC, and IDW all came out this week. So here's a couple of things. This is Gabriel Hardman. He's doing a Batman Green Arrow question, and I don't know. I'm curious, but until some preview pages, and specifically things with written dialogue, because art can be impressive and then the writing can be trash, and I need preview pages that actually have dialogue. There's another title, Marian Heretic, and the art looks great, but so far the preview pages that they've put out have 0 words, and I'm like, I'm not pre-ordering it until I can read something from this writer, because I have no idea what I'm getting into. This is probably a future regret, but we have DC KO Night Fight, which is, I'm not paying attention to KO at all. That's their big Battle Royale book. Tournament style. I will fill out my bracket once that's available. But Batman apparently gets sidelined in that tournament, and he needs to fight future versions of Robin that have become Batman, and that sounds interesting to me. And it's Dan Mora, who is one of my favorite artists, and this, I feel like, is another instance of coming up with a story after a character design has already been made. Whatever. Future regret purchase. We have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue 13, which is a new writer after Jason Aaron has left, and I can't remember who the artist was, but basically the launch of the Ninja Turtles, before any details came out, it was just creators, right? Aaron and 4 or 5 different artists, and I was intrigued, I was hopeful, and then details came out of one of them was basically dogfighting, one of them was in prison, and I immediately lost interest in whatever he was doing. But it's now 12 issues later, we have a new writer. This does sound better just in this snippet here, and for anyone else that is in a similar boat to me, there you go. There's a new opportunity. This Monsters We Make. It's written by, this concerns me, YouTube Star. This is another instance where I'm going to need some pages with actual dialogue other than a single sentence, because the art looks great. Story sounds interesting. I am curious about this. I'm extremely worried about it being written by someone from YouTube. I feel like it has been a long time where DC and Marvel bring in these writers from outside, from movies, from TV, novels, whatever, and they attempt to write comics, and it sometimes works, often doesn't, and so I would like to read a longer preview, but the fact that this person comes from YouTube really concerns me. Lastly, I'm going to mention Predator Badlands #1, which is a prequel to the Badlands movie. It is a single issue. It is Elvin Ching, who is a phenomenal artist. If you have not seen anything from Elvin, check him out on Instagram. The guy's phenomenal. But I'm very curious about this official prequel, it says there at the bottom. So I would like to know more about Predator Badlands, and I'm probably signing up for that. So here's some stuff that needs to be thrown on the floor, and here are the books that I got this week. Next week is going to be heavy on trades, so I know that already. Sleep is my pick of the week, but this is everything that I got this week from my local comic shop. If you don't know where yours is, you can use this URL to find the one closest to you. I hope you are finding some good comics out there. And if you are, please leave a comment. I would love to hear from you. Thanks for watching.